Hello, my name is Melanie Morrison, and today we're going to be talking about differentiated instruction. So, differentiated instruction is a means of a teacher teaching students based on where the students came from and what their different learning styles are, and taking all of those background elements into consideration so the teacher can attune their lesson plans to better meet the students' needs. So, the different methods that I'm going to be highlighting today in my video are UDL, SDAIE, CSP, Cooperative Learning, and Student-Centered Learning. And we'll get into those acronyms a little bit more as we come upon them. So first of all, let's go ahead and start with UDL. So UDL stands for Universal Design for Learning. It's a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. UDL considers different learning styles and offers different ways students can prove mastery and understanding of a topic. The main point of UDL is to make information accessible to all students in a meaningful way that helps them learn. So UDL in my classroom, I would like to set lesson goals, give different options for assignments, provide flexible working spaces such as the picture you see here, give regular feedback to my students, and then offer digital and audio text availability. So the next one is SDAIE, which stands for Specially Designed Academic Instruction in English. That's a long one there, but essentially it's an approach where all content from all subject matter areas like math, science, art, they're taught in English through different teaching modalities. So some of those modalities include like bridging, contextualizing, metacognitive development, modeling, schema building, and text representation. So for bridging, it's just establishing a link between students' prior knowledge and the material. So they can do think pair shares or quick writes, things like that. For contextualizing, students familiarize unknown concepts through direct experience. So for example, if we're learning about like Cesar Chavez in the valley, then maybe we can take a field trip to a farm, which in the valley where we live, there's a lot of farms around us, so that wouldn't be a far-fetched idea. That would give the students manipulative and hands-on experience so they can contextualize what we're learning about in the classroom. For metacognitive development, it's just providing students with skills and vocabulary to talk about their learning. So self-assessments, note-taking, vocabulary assignments, all of those things get the students to think about their thinking, in essence. Through modeling, teachers are able to model in small groups or class demonstrations, and modeling should occur through speaking slowly and clearly, modeling the language you want students to use. So if there's specific jargon to your science or math, you want to use those words and encourage the students to use them as well. And you want to provide samples of student work. So if you have examples of what you want the students to do and other students have already done it, you can use that as an example to set a standard for your students to accomplish that same thing. For schema building, it can be comparable where students can see the relationships between two things. So like a Venn diagram, for example, is a great way to show the comparison and contrasting sides of any concept, really. And then also text representation. So it invites students to extend understandings of text and apply them in new ways. So students being able to draw about what they read, for example, like this photograph here or this picture that the student drew here is about the Maze Runner. That's a book. And they wrote a book report about it, and then they were also able to depict what happened in the book through visual representation of their own creations. Moving on, we have CSP, which is Culturally Sustaining Pedagogies. So cultural sustaining pedagogies encourages teachers to consider their students' many identities when designing their lesson plans. So their identities, they as in the students, their identities come from cultural, racial, ethnic, linguistic backgrounds. And teachers who consider their students' backgrounds in their lesson plans positively impact their students' lives. Ways the students are impacted come from higher achievement, better classroom environments, and improving student self-confidence. So CSP in the classroom would involve the idea of going back to the idea that we live in the San Joaquin Valley, and I would be able to teach about and uphold the story of the farm workers that had cultivated the lands for decades here. There was Hispanic or Latino help as well as Asian labor that built this area. So we can teach about these positive impacts from the Asian and the Latino communities. And then we can highlight the great movements brought on by Cesar Chavez and give inspirational quotes from Asian or Latinx role models. So all of those things is like CSP in the classroom in motion. The next differentiated instruction model would be like cooperative learning. With cooperative learning, students are able to have positive peer-to-peer interactions. They're able to interact with each other using projects and group work. There's partner learning going on. There's teacher-to-student work. It's beneficial for struggling students, and the ability to formatively assess is ever present. So the teacher is able to get an idea of what the students know and if they're struggling or if they need extra help just based on these interactions between the peers of students or the teacher to student interactions and things like that. So in the classroom, ways to do this would be elbow partners, think pair shares. You could do this for ELA and math. And also just having group science projects, like in groups of 4, would be a great way for cooperative learning to occur in the classroom. And my last differentiated instruction method is student-centered learning. So with student-centered learning, it would be hands-on experience. Students are constantly engaged with their learning, and this may cause multiple day lesson plans to unfold to allow students to explore and learn. And then also instant formative assessment is available. So as a teacher, you're able to see how the students interact on a daily basis with the experience they're having. For example, in the classroom, project-based learning, which relies on students to collaborate, communicate, and create together, could involve something like a student farm, where students can measure and provide for the plants that they're caring for. And that kind of relates to this picture here, where the students are working together to measure how much the plants have grown. So things like that, it really gives hands-on experience and it really centers the learning to the students, and it's not in a form where the teacher dictates what's happening. So as far as differentiated instruction, those are the 5 methods that I have come up with. And for my sources, I did provide sources for my cooperative learning and the student-centered learning. All right, thank you very much. Again, my name is Melanie Reynolds and I am signing off. Thank you.